Okay. I'll have you introduce yourself one more time.
Okay.
So, today I'm here with Mr. Ting, and he'll introduce himself.
All right, Chris. Thank you for allowing me to talk. My name is Kent Ting. I've been retired 2 years already. I worked for General Motors for 37 years, mostly in noise vibration at the crew rooms.
Okay. So first question I have for you is, can you describe an overall strategy for external communication in your company or in your group?
External communication.
Yeah. How would you go about telling other sections or developments about what you found in your organization?
So back to what I was describing before, that Friday meeting with the chief, we call it VPIT, which stands for Vehicle Performance Integration Team. So all the integration teams gets together and reports out to the chief. So during that section, the vehicle chief engineer would basically give an overall status of where the program is at. Then each individual integration area, ride handling, noise vibration, chassis controls, they would all basically come up with like a little summary of where the project is at relative to developing the car.
Okay. Thank you. Who are the primary external audiences that you would communicate with?
So that would be the chief engineer. He would be the person that would be my primary audience. So he basically is the person that signs off once a vehicle is developed, all the performance aspect, the durability aspect, the validation aspect. He's the one that actually signs off on the car. So you need to have his buy-in, his comfort level to say if the problem is addressed satisfactorily or if there needs to be further improvement.
Okay.
So that would be my chief external customer.
Okay. A quick follow-up question.
Okay.
Would he also be able to explain what he is signing off in a more dumbed-down way to the next group of people, or?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So he's the guy that would, like, you would say, it's this. You would be more technical with him, and he would be able to tell everybody else, this is what.
He would be able to communicate, depending on what the audience is, the level that he thinks that
they can comprehend.
They comprehend the description of what he's talking about. For example, remember your dad and I guess you guys were riding a bike around, and there was a guy that had a Cadillac in his driveway. I'm not sure if it's an Eldorado or Seville. His name was David Long. He was a chief engineer. He was one of the best chief engineers I've ever worked with. Later on, I'll show you a video of it.
Okay. I will attach that video.
Okay. He was probably my favorite chief engineer to work with.
Okay. Number 3, what is the process to create and deliver messages externally? So I think what it's saying, or what the question is how, if you had to write it out on paper, you would go to your chief engineer, and he would dumb it down, or to the audience that he was talking to. He would put it in context and make it comprehensible to that audience, or it would have to go through them.
But I would say this, that's like the one part of the process of communication. Other part is the validation reports. So basically the validation reports are what is legally binding, if you will. So that is basically what the chief engineer is signing off on. So as like a noise vibration engineer, my data and my report goes into the validation report, and that's what he signs off on.
Okay. Thank you. Number 5, how do you see communication evolving in the company in the next 5 to 10 years, and how will AI affect that communication?
Well, that's a good question, because I don't even know the AI word back when before I retired, I don't even know if anybody even said AI back like 2 or 3 years ago. So that would be a new one.
Okay.
So I guess I don't have that much experience with how that would affect current communication at my company.
Okay. Well, how do you think it would change throughout? Like, how did you would see your chief engineer, like, let's say every week or every day to give him the update on what needs to get done? Do you think that could change to, like, videoing him, like Zoom calling him, emailing him?
Oh, yeah,
or...
yeah. Our meetings, because his office, he needed to be at the War Tech Center sometimes, so our meetings, they weren't live all the time. We had like web meetings, Zoom meetings, all that good stuff. So
okay, and do you think they would change to being just like online meetings, or do you think they?
No, I think it's the neat thing about working at Milford and working on cars, and when you have a car, a lot of it is not only the 0-60, like the tangible stuff, but it's some of the non-tangible stuff, like the touchy-feely kind of stuff. Like how the car rides over a certain road, how a car sounds when it's accelerating. Some of that you really can't put on paper, you can't really put on a requirement. So after our meetings, the VPIT meetings that I'm talking about, we would, have like maybe half an hour break or whatever, and then we would actually go out and drive the car. And then that would be the actual final exam, if you will, is if he was happy with that car after, basically you explain what you did, what changes you made, and then he drives it. That's the
Okay.
So that's like the buy-off process.
Okay. I like that answer. What are the metrics you use to measure the success of your external communication, and what advice would you give to a new company or new entrepreneur looking to establish a good external communication strategy?
Okay, so there's a couple questions baked in there.
There.
So ultimately, we look at like JD Powers. That's huge. So in terms of an independent agency, kind of getting feedback on our overall vehicle performance. So we take those reports very seriously. So that I think that would be like the ultimate the way that we get critiqued on whether a car is good from a noise and vibration standpoint or still needs improvement.
Okay.
And then the second
part is what advice would you give to a new entrepreneur or company looking to change their external communication? And let's say that the audience is just the public. So how would you say to go about making what is internal external without giving away everything, and making it simpler for the public to understand?
So I would say in the VPIT meetings to have somebody from the communications team. So GM, as you know, is a huge company.
Yeah.
So they have areas that are more on the engineering side, more on the quality side, more on the communication side. So the vehicle chief kind of gives everybody direction, and they basically all feed up and also feed down their information. So I would say the communication team, in terms of like formal GM communication to public, they are in that process very closely.
Okay. All right. Last question.
Okay.
Is communication with engineers different than in other employees? And if so, how?
Like when you say other, what's it other?
Like other employees as in like non-engineers,
well, actually,
technicians.
Yep. So in our area of proving grounds, I work with technicians all the time. So I would say it's best to keep the technicians that you're working with, the people that actually do the wrenching, change the part, do all the stuff that allows you to evaluate a certain change or a certain defect, to have them as closely involved with actual problem solving as you can. So basically, to give them some buy-in on what's going on. If you keep them off on the side, if you will, I found that to be a little more challenging in terms of getting the work done. So I always found that before I start any project, especially if I get assigned a certain technician, is to keep that technician informed of some of the background of why we're doing this, and then actually drive the car with him and have him experience the problem firsthand. I find that to be very helpful.
Okay, so what you're saying is it's better to keep the guy that's closer to working on the vehicle
Yep.
in the know-how
Yeah. Oh,
than
100%.
just anybody off the street.
Versus just giving them a work order and say, change that, or just telling them, do this. That's the first step, but I think the second step needs to be to tell them why.
Yeah, and have them experience it.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Okay, good. Thank you again, Mr. Tang.
All right.
I really do
Oh,
appreciate it.
It was a good interview. Good job, Chris.
Thank you.